It's time for our Clash in Paris review. First off, impressions. Crowd just absolutely ridiculous. They chant for everything. I love the stage design too. I thought that they really nailed it instead of just doing like a boring LED that WWE typically has done with a lot of these PLEs. But the first match we had was going to be Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns. The match itself I thought was good. I thought it was a good showing for Reed. Roman Reigns ended up picking up the victory here in the end, but I did think that it was a good back and forth. It didn't get crazy with the DQ action like in the match itself where they were spilling out to the ring, and they did take off the table, but they mostly kept it inside the ring. Good back and forth. The crowd was really hot for this as it was kicking off the show. But the thing is, we had the post-match beatdown, and that was, I think, as long or longer than the match itself. I didn't time it out, but man, the beatdown itself felt like it was the biggest thing they did, and I think they did it very well. I'm giggling because some of the spears and moments were just kind of funny how much they beat Roman Reigns. But Roman picks up the victory in the ring against Bronson Reed. I love the powerbomb spot where Roman Reigns goes for the spear and Reed basically blocks it and then just gives him a massive powerbomb. So I thought they did a good job of showcasing Reed's power in this. Ultimately, Roman does win. But Heyman was in the ring and the post-match, and then Roman comes in, Heyman gives him the shoes back, and then he gets a guillotine on him, so Heyman's choked out. Roman goes to the out of the ring, and this is where I thought that this was just over. Like, okay, Roman wins, I wonder what they're going to do next. But this is where everything just kicked off. So Roman's standing on the desk, right, and he's got a marker, and he's signing the shoes, and he's throwing them into the crowd. Breakker comes out of nowhere and just dummies Roman Reigns through the announce table with a spear. And then it just all unravels. Braun and Bronson, then they drag Heyman out, and then Roman's trying to recover, and then Breakker turns around from the ramp, and he runs all the way back down, and he spears Roman Reigns again from the outside. They throw Roman back in the ring, and then Bronson gives him a tsunami. They bring the stretcher out, and this is what I feel like works really well with Bronson Reed, is that there's all the chaos. They bring security out, and he keeps just doing tsunamis. So he does another tsunami on Roman Reigns while he's in the stretcher, and I thought that was excellent. So finally, Jay comes out, because he's going to do something. I was like, where is the bloodline? Like, where is every Jimmy and Jay? Where's everybody? They should be helping. Someone should help Roman. So Jay comes out, super kicks, but then Breakker gets back in the ring, and he spears Jey Uso. So Roman gets finally stretchered out of there. The bad guys leave. Bad guys get the ultimate win there. Jay is injured going into the fatal four-way, and Roman Reigns, well, he's going to be written off. What did you think of the first match? The match itself I thought was good, but the beatdown was everything to me. I laughed, I giggled, and I thought it was great, and a great way to put the heels over. Roman's going to be off TV. Do you think he comes back at WrestlePalooza? Then we got Crown Jewel, and we got Survivor Series. If I had to bet, and based on how much they beat him down, I feel like this takes him out to Survivor Series. Like, I don't think we see Roman again till then. That could end up being the War Games match. I really hope we do get Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns one-on-one. Maybe that's Crown Jewel, I don't know, but I would like to see them one-on-one at some point. Hilarious and fun, and that's what I like my wrestling. So then we've got the Street Profits versus the Wyatts for the WWE Tag Team titles. This match was just added from SmackDown because they had the #1 contendership match between Miz and Mello, and going up against Street Profits. Street Profits won, which I wish that Miz and Carmelo Hayes won that thing to face the Wyatts, and then maybe see a tag title change, but maybe they're just going to save that for later. This match, the Wyatts ended up retaining. I didn't find anything too spectacular about it. I thought this is very much a match you just see on SmackDown, but yeah, you had high-flying moments from the Street Profits. The story they were trying to tell, I guess, a little bit was going to be the butting of the heads between Dawkins and Ford, and I thought, yeah, they did a little bit of that. Ford is just great, like athletic. I thought both guys did a great job. Towards the end of the match on the outside, you had Nikki Cross go from under the ring and spooking Ford, grabbing the leg, and then Sister Abigail from Uncle Howdy. They roll them back in, hit their finishers, and yeah, the Wyatts retain. Didn't do too much here. Really feel like, okay, they got another win under the belt for the Wyatts, and this is to then probably move things forward in the tag division, where you do have Mello and Miz getting a title shot in a couple of weeks' time. Maybe they have to grind it out a little bit more to become #1 contenders. I would like to see more of this story with the Street Profits, of them butting heads. I think that the SmackDown Tag Division, while it's one of the highlights of SmackDown every week because they give them TV time, they put on good matches, I enjoy it. I do think that the Street Profits themselves have tagged for so long and they've done everything, and I'm glad that they recently got the tag titles and they're active again. That's all awesome. I just would love to see them in singles roles and see Ford specifically break out as a single star. Maybe he is a heel and feuds with Dawkins and does something else. So I'd like to see more from these guys. The Wyatts just they don't do much for me. Like, I'm glad they got the tag title so that it feels like they've got more. Bo Dallas, I will say a big plus is having Bo Dallas on SmackDown, where he was actually Bo Dallas and he was interacting with everybody. So maybe they are going to play with more of that element, and that would add, I think, a little more dimension to the Wyatts. But for the match itself here, yeah, the Wyatts retain, and I guess we'll see what happens on SmackDown. The next match was going to be Nikki Bella versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I thought this was kind of mixed. Honestly, what did you think? I thought it had some good elements. I thought they had a lot of back and forth. Nikki looked pretty good throughout this whole thing. I'm not the biggest Nikki Bella super fan, but you know what? I thought the two of them did try to put on a pretty good match, but there were some spots in here that were just complete misses and took me out of it a little bit. The other thing too is that for this match, this IC title match, it has been a shorter build. This is a way to get Nikki Bella on the card. And yeah, the promos, while I had enjoyed them on Raw between both of them back and forth, and I wasn't really invested in this. It didn't really feel like, okay, Nikki Bella is going to stay here for a while and she's going to win the IC title. Felt more like a foregone conclusion, at least to me. But the match starts with a lot of back and forth, a lot of just taking shots, a lot of flippers, just smacking each other. But there was there were two moments in here that I'm like, okay, you call these things out, whatever. But there were two moments in here. One especially was when they went to the outside of the ring and Nikki is grabbing Becky and she's smacking her head on the announce table at like the other side too, on the podium thing. And it was like the camera work was bad because it's just Becky putting her hands in front of her face and they went over and over again. It looked so bad. Like it stood out too much. That's why I mentioned it. I'm like, this was one of the worst things for this match. And I was like, no, this was bad. The other piece was when they went back into the ring and then Nikki went to like the second rope and jumped off to do a kick and completely missed it. And you could say, okay, maybe that was planned, like Becky got out of the way, but when you watch it, Becky was just so far back that she was nowhere near Nikki. Like, it was not timed well at all. They at least went through and they recovered through that, and they tried to go for some near falls. Becky hits a superplex from the top rope. It looked great. Nikki later goes for the fearless lock, and then Becky she scrambles and goes to the ropes and kicks out. They have spots on the outside where Nikki was just smashing Becky's head against the post. Manhandle slam by Nikki, and then you ended up having a backslide roll through thing. It looked like what Becky did to Bayley in, I think it was the triple threat match with Lyra as well. And they were going for a cover, and then Becky did this crazy spin roll into the cover, and she ended up beating Nikki Bella here. So Becky Lynch retains the IC title. Again, I thought the match was fine. I just thought that the two major glaring issues in there, they did stand out a lot. The crowd really into it, but they're like into everything for the show. So it was fine. It just wasn't really a big standout. Becky retains. I'm interested what happens next. Maybe Bayley gets involved again because now she's got the split personality kind of thing going on. We were waiting to see what happens there. And Lyra Valkyria, I also hope gets brought back in because I think that's the feud that you really want to continue on here. Then we got the Donnybrook brawl match. Rusev versus Sheamus just beat the tar out of each other. I loved it. Might be my match of the night. I thought this thing was so much fun because it's exactly what I wanted from it. I wanted these two guys to decimate each other, kendo 6 shots, steal steps from Rusev, beat each other senseless all throughout this thing. It was fun. It was hard hitting. They used a ton of weapons. It was silly and gimmicked up with the bar, and they got the tables, and the Slim Jim tables make their appearance, everybody. But this thing was it's so good. So very good. A little violence goes a long way. At one point, Sheamus goes through the bar, and he gets taken out. Sheamus is so bloody. Like, I know when he gets chopped, it's just Hamburger City, but man, Sheamus was just bloody all over the place. It was great. The big spot was they head up on top of the whiskey barrels, and then Sheamus does a white noise to Rusev through 2 of the Slim Jim tables. Great spot. That was a near fall finish. Rusev grabs the shillelagh, and then we get a bro kick from Sheamus. I totally thought that was it. Rusev kicks out. A couple more kicks from Rusev, and then ultimately you have Rusev grabbing the shillelagh, and he pulls Sheamus all the way back onto his back and then forces Sheamus to tap out. Michael Cole made a comment too that it was only the second time that Sheamus has tapped out. This thing was just fun. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. I'm glad it didn't go all over the arena. WWE tends to like to do that with the PLEs. They did that with like the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match, and that was fine. But sometimes I like it when they keep it in the ring. They did it at Cena and Cody at SummerSlam. This thing just stayed around the arena. Sometimes they've done this on Raw and other PLEs, and I really like it. It just was so much fun. Now, what do you do though with Sheamus and Rusev now? Because this was just beat each other senseless kind of match. Do you have them show up on Raw and shake hands? Like, just have a moment, a promo segment, a quick thing, and Sheamus comes out, he's all beaten up, and he calls out Rusev and they shake hands in the ring. Do you do it like they did when it was Sheamus and Cesaro? Because the bar was great. Like, they did a best of 7 and then it resulted in them coming together. I would kind of like to see that. I think there's nothing much more you're going to do. I mean, unless Sheamus just wants to get his win back. But now it would be interesting what they do. Do they move Rusev on? Does he get involved in the IC title scene? Does he move up a little bit? I think Rusev needs to. I think he needs to do more. But at the same time, the tag division on Raw is hurting so much, in my opinion, because you have just like 3 teams. You got Eric and Ivar, you got LWO kind of, you've got Judgment Day with the tag titles, and New Day is walking around wanting belts. It's not a whole lot going on compared to SmackDown. I think if Rusev and Sheamus teamed, you get a fun tag team, 2 guys that will annihilate the rest of the division. The thing is, though, it's like, I mean, it's a heel and a face together, but you get Rusev to be a little bit more of the face. They were chanting Rusev Day, which I like that he was like holding his ears no. It's kind of like Daniel Bryan with the yes. So I don't know. Do they team them up or not? That's the question I leave to you. But solid match, so much fun. But then we have John Cena versus Logan Paul. Crowd throughout the entire thing was absolutely nuts for John Cena. Got a Styles Clash in there too. That was pretty sweet. This match was completely built around, can Logan Paul step up to the occasion? Can he go on the level of John Cena? Can he bring it a little bit more than what he's done? It was very much a build like he did with Austin Theory to see if Theory could hang with Cena in that environment. That was at WrestleMania. Here in Clash, the commentators were putting over Logan Paul. All the work he's doing, even late into the match, they were putting him over for it. I thought that this match was great. I think it was Logan Paul's best match that he's done in WWE so far. I think because there was that added pressure of going with Cena the first and last time they go one-on-one. They needed to deliver. Cena looked great in this. Both guys looked great in the entire match. A lot of really good near falls. You started things off with like a test of strength, a lot of back and forth. Paul goes for like a splash. The attitude adjustment is countered. There's a ton of attitude adjustments in this thing. Swanton bomb by Logan Paul. Again, the commentators putting over Michael Cole, putting over Logan Paul, doing big moves, doing buckshot lariats, everything late into the match. Logan Paul eventually tries to go for his own 5-knuckle shuffle, and John Cena counters it into an AA. By the way, in the match, John Cena's mouthing of, like, this is known for Cena. He's known to do this, but he mouths words and moves and what's next to his opponent. And he did it here again with Logan Paul. I was like, dude, can you just turn the other way so we don't see it all the time? But Logan Paul eventually went to try to do 2 splashes from the top rope. And then later, Cena does hit a Styles Clash. The crowd goes insane for that. Why did we not get, as much as I enjoyed this match, it was a great match. We got the tag team match we talked about earlier. Why didn't we get Styles versus Dom? You didn't get AJ Styles on the card. That's a big miss for this whole show, I gotta think. Yeah, like the STFU, and Logan Paul grabs the ropes, and then towards the very end of the match, you did have John Cena hitting the attitude adjustment, not once, but twice, and Cena wins. He sees the little guy that he's always friends with now, so that little dude was happy once again. This time he didn't try to just randomly grab his phone the whole time to take a video of when he's like already on TV. But anyways, John Cena wins in Paris. No Brock Lesnar. I was surprised. I had money on Brock. I really did. I thought that they would want to just build that angle, but here we are. By the way, cheap plug here, but if you want to talk John Cena and like his final opponents, I got a video on that. So check that out and subscribe to the channel if you guys can. What did you think though was this Logan Paul's best effort? I think he did need to deliver here. Otherwise it was, what are we going to do with Logan Paul? Yeah, he lost, but does this give him a little more credit? Does John Cena put over Logan Paul a little bit, come SmackDown and Raw, and he says that Logan Paul did impress him and he got his respect. Interesting to see how they do it. Very curious, honestly, about what they will do with Logan Paul next. We're going to be getting into Crown Jewel, WrestlePalooza. You got Survivor Series as the next big show, and not the big show, but big show for Logan Paul. Is he going to be at Survivor Series? And what's his fall and then WrestleMania season look like? I'm very curious of who they can pin him up against that will work. I've always been impressed by Logan Paul's wrestling, and I thought that, while he is not my favorite superstar, because I don't enjoy him, but I appreciate the work in the ring. and being able to work a crowd, to get boos, to really play into everything. And him and Cena really complemented each other really well. Cena is now on a roll. He's 2 for 2 in my eyes because he had a great match at SummerSlam with Cody, and he had a great match with Logan Paul. Can they deliver? The Brock match is the main question here, everybody. I don't know. I'm scared slightly for it and what it will mean. But now that he got this victory, you do get Cena with that momentum to go into a Brock match. Again, still super surprised they didn't put Lesnar out there to just shimmy and jimmy and then throw him around. Great match. Highly recommend you go watch it if you didn't check it out. All right, it's the main event time. So we had the Fatal 4-Way World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth Rollins defending the title against LA Knight, CM Punk, and Jey Uso. Jey Uso's got the rib tape. I love that. I love that the match started off with a little bit of an homage, a callback to Cena, HBK, Triple H, where HBK super kicks Triple H out of the ring. So CM Punk kicks Jey Uso out of the ring to start the match. Everything goes shenanigans. Great Fatal 4-Way. For Fatal 4-Ways are sometimes not everybody's favorite. Sometimes they're a little clunky, and it's a lot of like, you two go and then roll out and then the next two guys pair off, and you know what I mean? I thought this one was well executed, flowed really well. They went into the crowd. You had great breakups throughout the match in terms of just breaking up near falls. I love that CM Punk did elbow drop the top rope. I like that Seth Rollins brought out the chair. LA Knight, yeah, he went to the top rope and he did an elbow drop and he missed, but it was so good. It was one of the biggest spots I think I've ever seen LA Knight try to do. All guys shined in this thing, told a really good story. Love that even at the beginning, if we rewind a second, Seth Rollins at the interview before the match started doing that and saying how he doesn't need anybody, which is a really interesting thing to say, as we learned when the main event happened and the results of that, which we'll talk about in a second, because mostly want to talk about that and where we could go. It's very interesting. Because Paul Heyman, Bronson, they got just removed, ejected. There's no dog barking tonight, ladies and gentlemen, no Tsunami Man. So they got kicked out. So Seth is on his own, and I love that Seth kept reiterating in that backstage moment, he doesn't need anybody. All guys perform well. I still thought throughout the whole thing, leading up to it as well, I'm like, this isn't the time for Seth to lose the belt, and no, he did not. So we actually had it where CM Punk looked to be winning. He had everything figured out, and I thought for a second, just as a fan, I'm sitting there going, ooh, are they actually going to do it? Punk's going to really win this thing. No, that did not happen, because we had Masked Attacker, Triple H's favorite thing, person dressed all in black with the hoodie. The black hoodie makes a return, and this time was interesting because I was like, this is a slim person. This is not an Austin Theory. He's got bigger arms than that. This was interesting because we got a low blow. So they're trying to do the whole chair spot, but then that got evaded. CM Punk, he's got Seth Rollins over his shoulders. Matt Stacker goes bing bong, and he hits it like no mercy, just ding, and it knocks over CM Punk. And it turns out it was Becky Lynch. It was Becky the whole time. Damn it. I love this. I'm so glad they did this. I know Seth and Becky teamed up before when they were babyface champions, and that was awful. It was so bad. They went up against what? Corbin and Lacey Evans? It did not work at all. I have been wanting them to add members to this group, and I'm so glad that they seem to have gone with Becky. Maybe not. Maybe we'll find out on Raw what this means. Are they going to be in the ring? Is Becky now fully part of the Vision? Is that how it's going to go? Because I think it adds so much more dimension to them. It's two-man power trip. It's the McMahon-Helmsley era, but both of them wrestle all the time. So I think it works really, really well. Becky, as we talked about earlier, not too sure what she does going forward. Her mixing it up with Vision and being allied with them, like clear-cut allies. This adds so much more where you can have more people trying to come at them. As I just started thinking, we got War Games coming up. It just occurred to me, are we going to have a mixed gender War Games match? Could Becky Lynch be the fourth man, brother? I know you need 5 in the War Games, but be the fourth to go into War Games? You can add in like a Lyra or somebody else. That'd be a lot of fun. Becky coming out, I think in a Seth shirt, it said like burn it down. It was so good. Seth hits the stomp. Seth retains the title. But what's interesting too about this with Becky coming in, I think that there are so many story possibilities just with this one move. I did feel like they needed to add a member. When I saw the low blow, I was like, hey, we got more people, because I think it adds to it. Roman getting written off earlier in the night, but Seth's comments of, I don't need them, I don't need anybody. I wonder if they will play with that with Seth and the Vision, and how maybe Paul Heyman, Bronson don't like that. Like they were doing so much to help Seth, and Seth in return is kind of like, I don't need you. And he has his wife, who's Intercontinental Champion, right next to him now as the main ally. Will it cause a rift between all of them? I will probably unpack this in another video, but I love the ending because it leaves so many questions. That's how I like wrestling shows to end sometimes, is that it's not just a clean cut, see you later. They actually leave me wanting more. So now I want to see what's going to happen on Raw. I hope Becky Lynch is part of this vision. It's going to be great. What did you think of Clash in Paris overall? I think good. What? Is it a 4-star out of 5 or 3.5 out of 5? I don't know. Above average. I thought it was very good overall, but I'll leave it with you. Your thoughts on it. And I mentioned earlier the John Cena and final opponents from Brock and who else he could actually face. Click this video right here. It means a lot. Thank you so much for watching our review for Clash in Paris. My name is Matt. Subscribe to the channel if you can. It helps us a lot. Have a great day. See ya.